Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Box Seat. I'm Adam McGrath and joined by Mark Olmos. Mark, 7 races to take a look at here at Ascot and superb conditions expected.
Yeah, it will be a nice day. Welcome to our viewers. We have a nice card of racing here and an interesting 3-year-old race later on in the card.
Looking forward to midweek racing here at Ascot. Let's take a look at the conditions that we are going to be faced with. The movable rail is out 12 metres. Some westerly breezes expected, which last season did mean that the horses were able to run on strongly. And as I said, just perfect weather for racing, as you can see there. Let's get straight into race number 1. It is over the 1600 metres, and this is a pretty good field here. We've got a couple of Saturday runners running in a midweek.
Yeah, nice mile race here, but there's one that stands out, and that runner is number 2, Settlers Creek.
It has raced around the outside and sprinted clear. Infatuated, opening up, led by 3 on All Too Much. Down the outside, Settlers Creek, already famous, is plugging away, and further back the Dankster. But by the 200, the pot of Drew the Persuader, and Infatuated rolling right back to the fence, clear from Settlers Creek down the outside. All interest in the minors. The favourites drawing away from them. A cagey ride there. He took off. He pinched this on the turn, Harvey, and Infatuated.
As you said, definitely stands out here. Settlers Creek normally didn't have a great record at Belmont. First up was able to win by over 3 lengths over Bourbon Dynasty, which was a class mare. Then last start finished second, 4 lengths behind Infatuated in a race that just didn't really suit. And we mentioned that day the conditions didn't suit. It was just a bit soggy underfoot, and the way that the day had been planning out. And we saw Settlers Creek just drift. I remember we both mentioned in the mounting yard it lost a leg or something as it went out. This race just maps ideally here. Barrier 4, the 58 kilos. There's good speed in the race. Back at Ascot on a harder surface. I think Settlers Creek just wins, and I think it's one of the better bets of the day.
Simply put, this Son of Discourse is just better than this field. And as you mentioned, Adam, beaten by a handy one in Infatuated, who's since come out and won at 72 plus class. So Infatuated pulled his way to the front and won easily. Speaking to Troy Turner after that race, he said this horse, his wheels spun a little bit in the going. It was rated a good 4 on that day, but it was the softer side of a good 4, closer to a soft 5 probably. But he looks mighty hard to beat here. If he brings his A game, he should be winning this quite comfortably at a reasonably short quote as well. Adam, we've also got the likes of number 6, TYCOON Target. Very disappointing last start when half strangled back to last, but it did have a mishap before the race. But the start before that, when winning from 3 wide, was excellent.
Just put a line straight through that last start and act like it never happened. Go through the runs before. A winner by 2 lengths, a beaten a length by Discoville. Good form lines around Special Jewel and also Hinchinbill as well. Barrier 5, the 56.5 kilos. This horse finally draws a gate. Take a look at those last 5, 9, 11, 8, 9 and 9. So finally we get into that nice run through the early stages. Should be able to settle probably the second pair back and attack the line strongly. This is a winnable race for TYCOON Target.
The couple other we'll touch on quickly. Number 7, Witnessing Course. This Son of Star Witness. Last start was only beaten a length by Hinchinbill. That galloper's in good form. Most recent start was good in defeat as well, Hinchinbill, but those form lines should hold up. 2 starts ago, 1 at Class 1 at Northern. I think there's something a little bit there with this galloper. He might not be Saturday class, but he can certainly win a race like this.
Slow Maturers Witnessing Court. They tried everything to get through for a maiden victory. They stretched all the way out to 2,000 metres on numerous occasions, but it's been this prep that the horses come back in form. The 4-year-old gelding won first up over the 1,600 metres, won 2 starts ago over the 1,600 metres as well. Has responded well to Peter Hall. Is in good midweek form, but not up to the top standard of these in this race.
Bomber Bay's the other one we'll quickly touch on. Last start, beaten 4 lengths by Ripperia. The start before that, beaten under 2 lengths by JOHNSTON. Now, JOHNSTON was scratched from a race on Saturday, which I believe it would have won quite easily.
Race number 2 at Ascot. It's over the 1,500 metres. It's a maiden company race here, and I think this is, again, a pretty nice field with probably a handful of them capable of running some nice races against Saturday company as this prep extends.
Indeed, we'll jump straight into the replay of last start runner-up, Western Temple.
Pemia Song's trying to get to the outside and does so now as they come down with 300 metres to go. Geiger Gem just in front. Western Temple the outside, and then Sharp Bob. At the moment, nothing really coming from the back. Inside the 200, Geiger Gem in front. Western Temple wants to run around and can't pick it up for the moment. And they're clear from Sharp Bob, and further back Bushfire Blonde and Not Again Cam, but it's Geiger Gem storming away over the final stages. And the Winkers do the trick, and Geiger...
Nice performance there by Western Temple. Had the wide barrier to overcome. Jumped from barrier 14 on that occasion. Was beaten 3 lengths by the well-supported Geiger Gem. Now jumps from barrier 2 with 57 kilos. William Pike had the choice of this galloper and also Petite Dancer. He's elected to go this way as well. And I think stretching out to the 1500 metres again is going to be another bonus. Started at 12, went to 13, now to the 15. I think makes this horse very hard to beat in the race.
I actually didn't really rate the last start performance from Western Temple. It went and sat outside the leader, which we never see any of Bob Peters' runners do. We never see them in the top two leading, but it was only a grinding performance, and the one that beat it in the end, Geiger Gem, was the other leader. They sort of just drew away. There wasn't too much to take out, but I just think over further, this horse over 1500 metres can get a lot better. It's out of a Perth Cup winner, if you don't mind, Western Jewel. And look, should be probably the more fancied of the two Peters runners, as you mentioned. Petite Dancer, maybe one for next preparation. Talking to William Pike, after her most previous run at Belmont, it was an okay performance, and there might be ability there. Just slow maturing, and will surely get there like a lot of the Peters runners. We've also got in the race, Adam, number 8, Jack Irish. A lovely looking 3-year-old is this. He's very leggy and he's got a bit of scope about him. Should be a very nice horse. Next preparation, potentially towards a derby.
Yeah, I think it's, as you said, one of those horses you just wait and see how it does go. The trial was really nice when it ran on strongly behind Toe Rope. The 2 runs this prep have indicated this horse wants further. It's drawn that wide gate. They should just be able to settle at the back of the field and attack the line strongly. Still very green, but is one that is improving.
Another one there, number 9, Something Big. This horse has promised the world but delivered an Atlas, Adam. It's been slightly disappointing, but hopefully we see the best. I think in this field, I mentioned there's Jack Irish heading towards a derby, maybe next preparation. A few of these will be heading towards derbies and Oaks next preparation, because they all look like they'll get a bit of ground. So this could be a good form race next season.
I've been a really big fan of this galloper, even what it's done so far this prep. I think a little bit like Western Temple. You mentioned that last start that run might have been disappointing. They were forced to go forward. It was a leader's day. They had to sit outside the leader and they'll go back. Something Big has had the exact same thing. This is a big, gross horse. It's drawn barrier 1, which it never wanted to be in. It's drawn barrier 2, which it didn't want to be in. And then last start, it was beaten 3 lengths by Michael Lil when just having a couple of issues over that 1300 metres. Now it gets everything to ticks a box. It gets out to the 1500 metres. It gets a day where they'll be able to run on strongly, and it gets Paul Harvey on board as well. At $10 plus, I'm very happy to play each way with this horse.
There, you going with that one on top, Adam?
I will be going with number 9, Something Big. From number 4, Western Temple, 5, My Journey, and at 12, Petite Dance.
I'm going with the 4, Western Temple. Will start favourite for William Pike and Granilana Williams. Ahead of the 15, streak away at big odds. The blinkers get applied here. I think that's a big plus and can certainly run a drum at big odds. From the 7, One Word Review, and 8, Jack Irish.
Race number 3 at Ascot. It's a Class 3 handicap over the 1100 metres. And Mark, this is a race which I thought could really break down a couple of runners. I thought there was 2 or 3 that are well and truly in front of the rest, 2 or 3 that are about middle grouped, and then 2 or 3 you just did not even have to worry about and really analyse the form. And it was a very different race on form lines. Yeah,
absolutely. One of those runners is Coletta, I think, is on the up. But the stablemate, number 9, Saddle Striker, was a good Class 1 winner last start.
Long is Kun Suk, followed by Supreme Joy down towards the rail, followed then at the head of the others by Truly Magical, and Lord Ludlow coming down the middle of the track. By the 200 though, and Inherit the Magic, shown the Persuader, but here comes Seattle Striker. It's Seattle Striker quickly levelling up, goes to the leader now, and Inherit the Magic goes to the front, hits the lead now, getting home Truly Magical, getting squeezed up for a bit of room late. But
just building into this prep nicely is number 9, Seattle Striker, as you mentioned, this 4-year-old mare. She's taken a little bit of time to mature, and that's just even evident by the way this galloper's broken through as a 4-year-old. Simon Miller, normally with those early runners. The first run in a maiden over 1100 metres was fair. Since then has just taken a little bit of a settle sat back in the second pairs and run on strongly. Barrier 1, Peter Nucky should get a lovely run throughout. There is good speed in this race with the likes of Pirates Fortune, also Delicate Miss in the race. I think they'll be able to sit there and attack the line strongly, and certainly is a winning chance. Yeah,
from the inside barrier as well. Will probably take a sit like it did last start when winning. Not sure about the strength of that Class 1 field at Northern, but we'll soon find out. Number 4, Coletta, the stablemates, the other one we mentioned, had a little freshen up, went back to the trials. The trial was pretty good behind Astronomite. It led, and then Aaron Mitchell didn't knock the horse around in the run. I thought it was good enough to win this.
Simon Miller's mentioned that this horse has so many soundness issues, this 5-year-old mare, so not surprised just to see her have a bit of a freshen up leading into Ascot. The trial was just to make sure she go around, have a bit of a blowout and be ready to go again. Barrier 10, not ideal here, but I think there's enough speed that she'll be able to slot into a nice position. 56 kilos with that 1.5 kilo claim. I think with Delicate Miss, she is clearly the class animal in this race.
Asian Lily comes into this second up as well from the Durant and Miller yard. Clint Johnston-Porter claims 2 kilos, and first up run was okay, but should improve here.
On times, Asian Lily isn't anywhere near the better gallopers in this race, but I do think this is a winnable race for this galloper. Has been second up on 2 occasions for a victory and a second. I didn't mind the first run behind Amelia's Love. Now Clint Johnston-Porter takes the ride. With the speed in the race, they'll be winding up late and attacking the line strongly, and I think it's definitely an each-way chance in the race. But I'm going to go with number 4, Coletta, from 1 Delicate Miss, 2 Asian Lily and 9 Settle Striker.
Got the 4 on top as well. I think she's got a bit of class, this mare by Tail of the Cat. Coletta from the 9, which is Seattle Striker, 2 Asian Lily and 1 Delicate Miss.
Race number 4 at Ascot. It is over the 1,000 metres, and Mark, there's just a few gallopers here that are trying to insert themselves into racing here in the West. Some nice types like Elite Faden. We've seen Carnelian racing nicely. My Naughty Blonde was a winner last prep too, and I don't mind the 2 PARNHAM runners in this race as well. I think this is a pretty even bunch.
Yeah, I've got the PARNHAM Quinella, but spoiler alert, we'll have a look at the replay of number 1, Elite Faden, the filly, winning last start at Northam.
Outside though is Nicotrice, found the back of Border Scott as Elite Faden searches for clear running, and back inside of them at the head of the others came Rhino's Lad. Down by the 300 though, Steel Spur, Border Scott together from Jumbo and Pike, now winding up with a run here for the 3-year-old Elite Faden. Nicotrice is further back, but it's Border Scott in front. Elite Faden is starting to knuckle down with Mambo Kadzi as Pike drives Elite Faden to the lead, and Elite Faden wins it first.
She's a very nice type. There is no doubt about that. You only have to go back and look at her form lines from last prep. Some good 2-year-old race wins, and even that run behind Stored Energy and Unmarked Bills, which were 2 of the, well, in the top 5 or 10-ish of some of the 2-year-olds that we saw late in that season as well. Put in some good Saturday performances. But anytime a 3-year-old filly has to carry 59 kilos, my alarm bells just start ringing. Look, she's all class. She's a nice galloper. She's going to win plenty more races, but I think she's going to jump probably under $2, and I'm willing to take her on.
Yeah, I think she'll actually probably get out on race day. I think punters will think the exact same thing, Adam. 59 kilos for a filly. She does have a little bit of class, and there was a lot to like about the win, but she's only carrying 54 kilos on that occasion at Northam, and she did have to barge through and bullock through. There was some nice things to take out of that performance. She's also been nominated, early nomination for the Winterbottom, so they have an opinion of it. Whether she can make that grade, she'll be needing to win this very easily to warrant a start in a race like that moving forward. So the ones that have taken my interest though are the PARNHAM runners. I'm Incredible and ELLICAZOOM. I'm Incredible firstly. It was 3 wide and did all the work, still had the audacity to just keep finding the line at Northam behind Public Spirit there. And then ELLICAZOOM, 2 trials leading into this run have been superb and's drawn the marble of barrier 1.
I think we follow Stephen PARNHAM a little bit in this race, and he has elected to go with number 9, ELLICAZOOM, and for good reason too. When you take a look at last prep, its first ever run was in a Group 3 race behind her, beaten 4 lengths by Whispering Brook, was then beaten 3 lengths by Diamond Princess, since when we've seen that horse return in Saturday company as well. The 2 recent trials were good, beating a horse I don't mind in Proconia as well, and then last start winning by a length. Then you draw barrier 1 with 55.5 kilos. There are some big positives here for this filly by Testarossa. The second one you mentioned, I'm Incredible. I think this is a really nice galloper as well. Barrier 5, Brad Parnham takes the ride, was beaten 1.5 lengths by Public Spirit. Go back to last prep, ran into a couple of Miller's better gallopers as well. But I think this gelding by I'm Invincible is only going to improve, and I think both of them can play a part in the race. Yeah,
I've got them as my top 2, Adam. The other one as well there, number 7, Carnelian, won its maiden at 2J last start. Beat Count Carla, so the form lines are there. Those horses have raced in Metropolitan Company and the maidens there, but yeah, look, I just want to see him do it first.
That's not the form that I'm looking at all. I think I go back to her run when beaten her 1 length by Sweet Aura. Now, we've just seen what Sweet Aura did last week at Bunbury, and we know Sweet Aura's record too. Carnelian is a very good galloper. Now, my only question mark is it's probably going to be a day that you don't want to be leading. And that's exactly where this galloper is going to be. The Simon Brass runner will be outside of it as well. There will be speed in this race, which may suit the Parnham runners more, but I just think those form lines, variation, we saw run 3rd on the weekend on Saturday as well. Sweet Aura, we know the class there. I think they stand out with 55.5 kilos. I'm happy to put her on top. From number 9, ELLICAZOOM, number 1, Elite Faden, and 6, My Naughty Blonde.
I've got the 9 on top from mine. ELLICAZOOM ahead of the stablemate. I'm Incredible, number 4, 1, Elite Faden, and the 5.